Alright. So let's play the game of hypotheticals. Let's say Bernie Sanders wins the presidency. The Democrats win the House, keep the House, win the Senate, and they all decide openly, however you want to figure this out, they all decide we're just going to rubber stamp anything Bernie wants to do, right? Because of this, like 5 justices, all Republicans, they all just have heart attacks and die. And Bernie Sanders just replaces them all with fucking Democrats, right? He has total control. He can make anything he wishes happen. Perfect scenario for Bernie Sanders, right? First thing he's going to want to do, of course, obviously, universal health care, right? So, what happens when you drop that pebble in the pond? Because remember, Bernie Sanders loves the idea of socialism, just not the authoritarian part. I'm going to tell you how they are kind of inextricably wed. He's going to do this. He's just going to do it. Alright? We all get universal health care. Health care is now free. Now, that means that the people who don't want it are now being forced to have it because fuck you, Bernie Sanders wants it. Right? Already, we've gotten to force. We're now forcing people to do shit they don't like. Taxes are going to go up. They're going to have to go up. Bernie will tell you himself, taxes are going to have to go up. Now, he's going to start draining the wealthiest of us first. Right? But, he's going to be draining all the rest of us too, at the same fucking time. He's just going to be draining them faster than he's draining the rest of us. Their money is what we like to refer to as finite. Yes, they have a lot of it, but once it's gone, it's gone. Just like your money. You may have a little of it, but once it's gone, it's gone. Right? Like once you spend it all, there's fucking none left. So, it'll take a while, but you will work through the rich people at that tax rate. But we'll all have free health care. Now, it's going to be government run because the government's paying for it. You're not going to have private hospitals. Government's not going to want competition. It doesn't like competition. That's why Bernie Sanders wants to do universal health care. Now, if anybody can name me one thing that politicians seem to be able to do well when they're running shit, I'll be fucking amazed. Because they know. You always hear horror stories of DMV, or I had to fucking do an audit. Like, man, it's always bad shit. Shit always gets fucked up. The chain is 50 people fucking long. Shit gets shuffled around fucking along the way. Shit gets lost. Like, dude, they're terrible at everything they attempt to run. Our education system is for shit. They are terrible at everything they try to run. The goddamn Democrats couldn't fucking run elections. Nevertheless, the government is for shit at running things. Right? So, our healthcare is going to be run by the government. Government workers don't make millions of dollars. So doctors will no longer make millions of dollars. Their pay rate will be probably drastically decreased. Because they're going to be getting paid by the government, and the government can only take so much money from us before we start to revolt. Remember, Bernie Sanders has to work it into our ass really, really slow. Because if he goes too fast, it might hurt. And we'll wake up. And that's going to be bad for Bernie Sanders. So nevertheless, that shit's going to happen. There's going to be a lot less incentive to be a doctor. You work 20-hour fucking days, and you have to deal with sick people all the time. Ain't nobody going to want to do that shit just for fucking $50,000 a year. Or whatever Bernie Sanders decides to cap wage earnings at, because Bernie Sanders doesn't want people to earn too much money. Or was that Elizabeth Warren? I don't remember. I thought that was Bernie Sanders. Well, whatever. Nevertheless, their pay is going to go down dramatically. Right? So that means a lot of doctors are just going to be like, well, I ain't fucking doing this shit for that money. And they're going to go and work at Costco because it's a hell of a lot less stress. Like, for the same amount of fucking money. Like, dude, it's going to be bad. Also, the government will be deciding what is and isn't necessary. Now, the abortion wing of the hospital is going to have literally a revolving door. You go in, you get your fucking baby killed, go right the fuck back out. It's just, they're not even going to have paperwork. They're not even going to bother with a fucking lobby. They'll probably just have bitches lined up, walking out the fucking door around the goddamn building. And you just get, alright, come in, get in the chair. Just suck them out, fucking factory line. But, like, other things, you know, shit's expensive. And we can only pull so much money out of people at a time. So the government will literally be deciding who lives and who dies. Because they will be deciding the necessity of you to get something done right now. That shit takes time. Sometimes you don't have time. There's a whole lot of fucked up things going on with it. Nevertheless, it isn't going to work. Think of how many people are in your fucking hospitals right now, like just in your general area. And now think of all the people that actually probably have something wrong with them in your general area. Probably should be at the hospital, but they're not. Because whatever fucking reason. They can't afford it. Whatever it is, right? So, make that shit free, hospitals are going to get overrun. It isn't going to probably be as bad as it is right now, but, you know, we're beginning to realize that room in hospitals, doctors with which to treat patients, all of that sort of thing is also what we like to call finite. So, rationing. Right, that's what it's called. They're going to call it something a hell of a lot more pretty than that, but it's rationing is what it is. So they're going to decide who gets what. This is going to anger people. Right? Now, we've already had universal health care lead to angering people. He also wants to do fucking free college. Alright? So you'll have grade school, which will be government-run school. Middle school, which will be government-run school. High school, which will be government-run school. And then college, government-run school. So essentially, you're going to be taking high schoolers, keeping them in high school, but some of them will be able to buy booze. And even if it was free, I still wouldn't have wanted to go. I'll be totally honest with you. I am not an office worker type person. There's no fucking way. My sister, God bless her, but my sister is talking about the lottery, right, with me. Because the lottery was fucking like $100 billion, whatever the fuck it was. And, so we're talking about the lottery, and she's like, if I won that money, you know what I would do? And I'm like, what's that? And she's like, I would pay off everybody's house, and I would pay off your college. And I'm like, now mind you, I'm like in my 30s at this point, and I'm like, Jen, I'm not I'm not going to college. I'm like, it ain't gonna happen. I'm like, you're gonna buy everybody else a house. I actually have a pretty good job. You know, like, I'm not making minimum fucking wage. I have a good job. I have a skilled trade that I know. I'm a fucking warehouse guy. I'm a dock worker. I drive tow motors for a living. I know how to do all that shit. I do data entry. I've managed. I've supervised. Like, I'm in a career path. Like, you asshole. But, you know, she's kind of a leftist, so that's how they think. Right? So, yeah. We're going to have college for everybody. And it's just going to be, it's going to be high school lager. You're going to have middle school, which is high school light, and then you're going to have high school, which is essentially PAPS, and then you're going to have high school lager. You know, sponsored by Jim Beam. Like, welcome to the Jim Beam Student Center. Like, are you fucking serious? Oh my god. So, yeah, like, I don't see that being a good idea. And with the types of things that Bernie Sanders would want to teach, I don't see that being growth at all. So, yeah, I think that's going to be a problem. You know what I mean? Like, I just personally think that's going to be a problem. But all that shit's going to have to be paid for. We're going to have teachers. We're going to have campuses. We're going to have books. You know, like, we're going to have all that shit for the people. Like, books are expensive. So, like, where do you think the money comes from that? Well, as we've discussed in the past, the government doesn't make anything. It gets its money through taxes. So, taxes go up a little bit more. Alright. So now we are literally all paying for our children to go and drink until they're 22. And then get out of college with a half-assed degree in fucking gender studies and no job prospects. Right? So we're going to have a lot of dumb unemployed people who had not gotten the jump on the job market when they were early and got their own place first. The party house. So, yeah, I don't know. I think we're going to wind up with a lot of unemployed people. However, Bernie likes the idea of government guaranteed jobs. How convenient. So, what is that going to look like? Because Bernie also likes the idea of, like, gender quotas. Shit like that. Well, what that's going to look like is we're going to need a new division of the government. It's going to be job placement, right? It's going to be part of the guaranteed government jobs thing. So you're going to go to your government job fucking placement place, right? And you're going to go to them, and they're going to give you a job until you find one you just stick at, right? So now that is going to put out of business an entire industry. I don't know if you know this or not. I don't know if you've had to look for a job in your life. But there are job placement places. There are businesses that exist that you can go to them and fill out a bunch of paperwork, and then they will say, we've got a job for you. And they will send you to a job. Until you find one that sticks. Like that. There's a private industry that already does that. So we are destroying another entire industry, taking it over by the government. I wonder if anybody else is noticing how this is happening. It's like dominoes. So now they're out of business. That's a lot more unemployed people. Thank God we need to hire people to place people in jobs. Now, instead of your money being paid by the person who was smart enough to come up with the idea to do that job, you're now being paid by the taxpayer. So they're going to be placing people in jobs. Now this is going to be convenient for them. And it might be inconvenient for some of the ladies out there. It might be inconvenient for some of the gentlemen out there. Because there's going to be a lot of gentlemen that are going to have to be hairdressers. That probably ain't going to want to be hairdressers. But we have gender quotas to fill. And there's going to be a lot of women working fucking, you know. You ever drive down the road and see the truck with the bucket? There's some dude 100 feet in the fucking air with a bucket working on a fucking power line. Guess what, ladies? You ever see a chick up there? I never have. So we gotta work that to where it's 50-50. Every time I see a dude in a bucket, I better see a bitch in a bucket later down the road. Like, you know? So they're gonna start placing people like that. This is gonna probably upset people. So we are now with 3 down, and all we're doing so far is upsetting people. Bernie Sanders is big into the Green New Deal. So all of you oil workers are now out of a job because he's going to have to figure out a way to close down that industry. Now, one way that he could do that is through government takeover. But Bernie Sanders doesn't like authoritarianism, right? So just what he's going to do is he's just going to have the EPA fucking like regulate them into oblivion. That he'll just make it impossible for them to do work. Alright, we'll let you drill for oil. However, you cannot in any way damage or move the soil, and you cannot pull anything out of the ground. Okay, so then, you know, they'll say, but the government is more than willing to pay you for your company, and we'll just keep on all your employees and just not do anything with them. We'll just pay them. Just sit there. Now, that's not going to actually happen. They'll just fire him all. Like, if he decides that we really don't need to fucking produce any oil because it's damaging to the environment, he could go as far as to just say, we ain't doing that shit no more. Just shut it down. Which is convenient, because that's a lot more unemployed people to fill. And we've got quotas that need to be met. Right? So, that'll be done. Oil. Coal. And fracking. So that's 2 more industries that are going to have to go the way of the dodo. Which is convenient, because that's a lot more unemployed people to fill. However, we are now trying to push unemployed people into jobs that don't exist. How do we do that? It's called superfluousness. We have about a chain of 5 guys between you walking in the door of a company and walking out with whatever item it is that you want. This is going to upset people. So, you know, whatever. Gas prices and all that shit's going to go up. That's going to be convenient because people aren't going to really want to drive cars anymore. Because it's going to be difficult to get one at an affordable price. Because, again, the EPA is going to regulate the car industry and not really being able to fucking do anything. We'll let you have electric cars. So, you know, but electricity is made by coal. Maybe we'll just have to go nuclear. That's a scary thought. We're going to have the Democrats fully running nuclear plants. With gender quotas. I just need a moment to just fucking... Oh my god. Like, my heart is beating fast. Like, is this what a panic attack feels like? My chest feels really heavy right now. I can't believe this is actually working me into a panic attack. Alright. That should be fun. So, oh, Bernie doesn't like guns. Now, there's only one way that happens. Force. He's literally going to have to take people's guns. But Bernie doesn't like authoritarianism. And people already own guns, so you can't, like, make it impossible to find the manufacturing materials for, like, you can't really regulate it out of existence and have that just be the end of it. People already have guns. And you can do a buyback, but nobody's going to sell the government their guns because they're going to be like, no. So, what do you do? If you don't like authoritarianism, but you don't like guns, you can close down the industry, which is convenient. We have more jobs to fill. We can now get up to like 10 people between you walking into a place and leaving with what you want. Doesn't really matter. I mean, taxes have got to be out of the fucking roof at this point, because every time we shut down an industry, taxes are going to have to go up, because we're going to have to get more people to place people into jobs, and we're going to have to start doing superfluous jobs, because government guaranteed jobs. And I mean, a lot of companies, you know, they'll be fine getting government workers because they don't have to pay them. So superfluous jobs will be great for a lot of companies. They might even go so far as to fire their actual employees, at which point they're going to have nothing but government employees. Who's paying taxes at this point? Jesus fucking Christ. Alright, so, yeah, where was I? Where was I on my nightmare journey? I don't even fucking know. Like, oh yeah, we were taking everybody's guns. Yeah, there's really only so many ways that happens. If you don't like authoritarianism, like midnight raids, like that's, you know. So now you've got literally like open revolt, because people are going to be shooting at the military who's trying to take their guns. The military has guns. They're not going to just take rounds. Like, so yeah, now we're going to have like open war. You're going to have militias that are going to start forming. I mean, I don't know, man. I think I always thought that life was boring. We don't have dragons or magic or anything fucking cool. We don't have lost ancient relics that bestow amazing powers upon you. We don't have superheroes. We ain't got nothing cool. We don't have fucking aliens. We don't even really have space adventures. We don't even have pirates anymore. We at least used to have pirates, but we don't even have fucking pirates anymore. Like, technically we have pirates, but they're all skinny, starving dudes. So, I don't know. Like, I can understand the desire to live in a post-apocalyptic dystopia, because it would be fun. Because you gotta figure that, like, people would go, like, Wild West with shit, and, you know, you get bounty hunters, and, like, that'd be neat. Maybe that would be the key to us getting magic. Because you gotta fucking believe in magic if you think just because it's Bernie Sanders and just because it's us, we're somehow gonna do it right. There is no doing it right. It's a system where ultimately the government controls everything and everybody's paid by the government. So the government has all the money because everything you earn it just takes from you. And it decides how much you get every month because it's going to set wages. And it's going to decide what you get for free and what you don't. Notice, like, food, water, all that kind of shit, that's not on the list of stuff you get for free. Yet. Like, it's amazing, you know, when people get to the point where they're starving because you don't give us enough fucking money to eat. Right? Prices are through the roof because they're the only privately owned fucking businesses anymore. We can't really do much of anything because you don't give us enough money. There isn't enough money to go around. And so they're going to start regulating the shit out of companies until they can just buy them out. And then you can go and get your government burger at government McDonald's. And that's the only restaurant you got. Like, dude, it's the only way it works. It's the only way it works. Socialism doesn't work otherwise. I started with just Bernie Sanders' main talking points and rolled us into government McDonald's. And the whole of the country is just employed by the government. And we don't need money anymore. Because the government just puts everybody to work where it needs them to be working. And everybody just gets fucking lackluster horse shit. Because nobody specializes in anything more. Because everybody's just placed in their job. And they work a bunch of shit jobs until they find one where they go, well, I guess this is cool. I'll be CEO of this company now. It's like, but shit like that is going to happen. People are going to be placed like that. Great, you're black. We need a CEO for... I've never been a CEO before. You are now, buddy. It doesn't work. Like, all of you Bernie or else people, it doesn't work. Like, seriously. Run the war game through your head and tell me how any of it actually works. Tell me how it works. I ran you through my full scenario from Bernie Sanders just being elected with full control of the government to government McDonald's. You run me from Bernie Sanders being elected with full control of the government to anything else. Like, literally. Spell it out for me. Make a video, upload it to the cloud, and fucking send me the link. I don't give a shit how it is you do it. Write it all out. Spitball it. If you have to use magic, tell me when. And tell me how you discovered out how to unlock it. It doesn't go anywhere else. It can't. It's a snowball being rolled downhill. It's a butterfly flapping its wings. It's a domino being knocked over. A pebble being dropped into a pond. And it doesn't lead anywhere but to its location. Sooner or later, all the dominoes are down. There's gonna be a hurricane somewhere. The water meets the edge of the pond and ripples back. It always ends the same way. Every time it's been tried. I'm sure the good people of Venezuela thought we'll be able to do it right. You people are just believing in a fantasy world. It isn't going to happen. And if your idea is we want to watch the world burn, that's fantastic. However, the world will not burn. We will burn. The world will figure out how to move on without us. Because we're not going to be producing anything anymore, because we can't have production factories, because that is just bad on the environment. So we're going to be shipping everything into this country. And how do you think that's going to get paid for? How much you think a fucking iPhone is gonna cost? I think they're expensive now. Yeah. And they're made by children in China. So, you know. I can't understand how any... Like, unless you're literally just listening to the talking points. We're going to give everybody free healthcare. It's going to be so much better because we're going to spend so much less money. Because everybody's going to wind up being so much healthier. Huh? How does that work? Magic. Dude, I don't get it. Bernie or else. I want a dystopian apocalypse. God damn it!